Welcome to Scale Her Up, the Female Entrepreneurs Show with me, Brenda Hector. I'm a business growth specialist, helping business owners to develop themselves and grow their businesses so they can achieve their goals and enjoy the lifestyle they dream of. I'm on a mission to revolutionise the entrepreneurial landscape for women in business. In every episode, I interview someone who has an inspiring story or some great advice for women aiming to start or scale their businesses. If you're new to the show, take a moment to subscribe right now so you don't miss any upcoming episodes, and please check out the previous ones after listening to this. We have an awesome Facebook community. Just search for Scale Her Up and join in. Welcome to Scale Her Up. Today I've got Ronnie Krupa from Walron Ltd who's joining me. Ronnie, thank you very much for coming on Scale Her Up.
No, thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited.
So, yeah, I met you networking just a month or two ago, and you were telling me your story, how you got started in business. So, do you want to just share that? Actually, no, let's start off with what you do at Walron Limited.
Yes, so I run a company. I run two, but this one is more of an agency side. So it's all on tutoring, academic tutoring, but also mentoring for particularly students. With my own company, I take on my own clients. With Walron, it's very recently actually been split into two as the business has been growing to kind of give that scope for maximum potential growth for the agency side of things. So with Walron, what I'm kind of mostly trying to build right now is more of a security system and network for students rather than just a tutor. There's so many companies that I've worked with in the past and that exist where it's quite an automated system where students book their session, have their tutor explains things, and off they move on with their day. Whereas where I found my success over the years is really creating a platform for the students, not a platform, but like a atmosphere within our sessions, which is engaging in the aspects of they really feel like they're kind of coming to see their older sister. We're now also within the agency older brothers as well, and really just them and their parents feeling like they have people to turn to, especially since COVID. There's been so much that's just deteriorated the level of education, but also support and mental health for students across the board. And the company, we work with people internationally, not just UK based as well, and you see it everywhere, which is crazy to think that it's been, I mean, obviously it was a global pandemic, but it has affected every student, no matter the region, standard of living. It has affected everyone. So what we're really working on is, we have a group chat with every single parent and student and the tutor and myself. And anytime they need anything, we're both, the tutor and I are both there to step in. When the tutor can't make it, we'll have another one that covers. They sometimes join into the group chat as well. So then those students are building those connections with not just one tutor that they have their sessions with, but for the future, they have all of us to be able to pitch in and give them that guidance that they need in whatever they need as well.
As a mum of teenagers, I mean, that sounds fantastic because it's exam time now, just about. My daughter's studying for her exams that will start just in a few weeks, and it's a very stressful time, not just for the kids but for the parents as well. So knowing that there's that support out with school or out with the family must be, yeah, I think that's a great thing you're doing.
I think so. And also what I found really surprising over the years is actually how little the parents know. When it comes to their children's education, I think that's where a lot of the panic actually sets in for the parents, because we know very much that society currently is going into a phase where, to get a house out of uni isn't easy anymore. Students are living longer with their parents. Competition is higher than ever and more extreme than ever when it comes to university, graduate schemes, first jobs, within jobs as well. So there's parents know that there's that whole weight kind of waiting, you know, that you have to sort through and push your child through so they get into the real world. But on that same side, schools aren't actually giving parents, from our experience, the information that they need to settle their minds. There has been a ridiculous countless amount of times where I've been asked questions which seem very, very simple. For example, you know, when the exams start, or how many papers they have to do for a certain exam, or what can they even do in the next phase. You know, a lot of parents don't even know what comes after, for example, the Nat 5s, or in the UK GCSEs, or in the British curriculum and international schools as well, what comes after GCSEs. They don't know what's involved in the A levels, what options there are, and it's not the parents' fault. It's the schools which are not providing the correct information and communication outlets to be able to reach out to those parents and let them know. So the majority of time, the group chat that we have, like I said, with the parents, it's kind of mostly filled with actually the parents asking the most questions about, you know, exam details and the next steps and how to get into things and how to applications as well. And another thing that we've noticed is, especially with teenagers, I don't know about yourself, but a lot of teenagers don't share with their parents what's going on at school either. You know, they really brush off the questions, and you guys even more so can't even get the information out from your children.
And it's not always easy to speak to the teachers either. So yeah. So
Yeah.
has this evolved through you starting off providing tutoring in like the subject content, and you've realized that there's more of a service that you can be providing?
Oh, absolutely. So I first started, I mean, I fell into tutoring completely kind of by accident, and I always thank, she's still a friend of mine. It was my dad's kind of distant, I don't even know friend, but she was in my dad's kind of circle of friends. And she has a son, and he was struggling with maths. And my dad, you know, as you just kind of converse about your children, said that, oh, his daughter, so me, is going to university. And she picked up on that and thought, oh, she could tutor my son. And at the time, I was working in a supermarket. You know, this was about £7 more for an hour than the supermarket job. It was 1 gig a week, 1 hour a week. But I thought, yes, I'll try it. And my dad's first response was, oh, she's never done it, I don't know if she'll want to. But I'm a big opportunity taker, so as soon as that came flying to me, I took it. And just from the first lesson, I was hooked. I was so lucky to find something that I'm so passionate about so early on. I mean, I was 17, 18, something like that, because I wasn't even at university yet. And I really just fell in love with seeing initially that academic aspect, because you'd see confidence grow, and just that person actually start to like the subject and look forward to you coming over and having sessions. It's such a different feeling than anything I'd ever experienced before. And then so then when I used to meet people, I'd say, instead of saying, oh, I work at a supermarket, I'd say, oh, I'm a tutor. And the word kind of spread, so I had, you know, four lessons a week, something like that. And over the years, it's accelerated to now me doing about 75 hours, which I told you about, a week. And it's what's happened through the years, especially during COVID, because before COVID, I would teach in person, and I would, you know, drive to the house, and it really limited, obviously, how many clients you can reach out to and actually connect with, because you're bound to where your car can take you in a certain amount of time. And then through COVID, reluctantly, I decided to start doing lessons over Zoom. I thought it'd be awkward at first, but it actually wasn't at all. I think we're so used to it now as well. Yeah, so then I started joining other platforms and getting more clients, and I realized how, also being an only child, how fulfilling even more so it was to kind of have these little siblings to guide. And I was always, you know, in secondary school, I was always the agony aunt of all my friends that come to me for motivation and chats and and things like that. And I realized that with these students, you're building such a bond, which is more so than just explaining algebra. It's, you know, really, if they have problems, they can talk to you. If something's going wrong at school, if they're down, if they have anxiety, things like this. And for a long time, the companies I used to work with, I was their go-to when it came to students which came from more problematic backgrounds or are really struggling mentally at that point in time. So I'd be their go-to tutor to give those students to me. And through that, even more so, I felt like I developed this real understanding of actually there's a gap here that needs to be filled, and needs to be filled by more than just one person, because I can't take on everyone in the country or the world. So that's where the company started to find and train tutors that are like-minded like me and can give that same sense of security as I can do and provide.
So yeah, so you've had to pivot because there's only so many hours that you can work. So in order to have more impact, you need to change what you're doing. The bringing on, how do you find people that are like you, and how do you find the right people? Because this sounds, as a mum of teenagers, this sounds like a great way of working with these young people, but it's not the norm, is it, in terms of to
No, it's not. And actually, one of my students and I had this conversation quite a few times now. He's had a tutor before, and he's currently redoing his A levels. And as everybody, all of his friends went on to university, and he stayed home to redo all of his A levels. He said to me that actually he would get quite lonely, and what I've given him that no other tutor has done before was not just the fact that I'm leading his educational side, but he has someone to talk to every single week. And that has been so different for him. And knowing that he can just have, you know, even like a 15, you know, we have 3-hour lessons. So a 15-minute chat at the beginning, or even 20-minute, does so much for him, even though it's got nothing to do with the academics. And before I answer the question on how do you find those people, also what I found is, you know, at the beginning, when I started realizing how much the students actually benefit from that, I used to feel quite like I'm not in a way doing my job, because I thought, okay, the parents took me on as a tutor, and here I am, you know, talking to them about their friend issues at school, or their teacher issues, or whatever it may be. But then I realized, because after every single session, I always update the parents fully of everything we did, everything we talked about, everything that we plan to do, you know, what they need to do in their own time, etc. And the parents' feedback was such a shock to me of how positive it is with regards to the fact that I am talking to them about these things, because the parents say the students don't, you know, their children don't open up to them in some of these aspects, and to know that they have kind of the safety blanket in me to be able to discuss these things is so just makes massive change that they never even knew that they needed. So that's kind of how that way of working, I guess, has proven to be really positive and unexpected, and definitely different, like you said. But the way that I found the tutors, so when I first started the company, it was just me, and I wanted to kind of set the name, you know, get the website up, things like that. Then when I was finally ready to start taking on tutors, I actually just put out an ad on Indeed of, you know, looking for, and I just specifically very much said what I'm looking for, what mindset I'm looking for. I'm looking for people who will encourage and mentor these students. You know, the age ranges of our students can be from 5 years old, even youngest student that we've had, up to mature students as well. So not only in their 20s, but even older as well. And the applications that came in were amazing. Within about 2-3 days, I had about 300 applicants for this job. And that also shows how many people actually believe in, I think, this kind of way of working, because, you know, they saw this opportunity and were so keen to apply. So I read through 300 CVs, 300 applications, and wrote out a list of my top, I think it was top 15 or something like that, rang them all, just spoke to them. And I think what for me was very evident is as soon as I got talking to them, if I click with them, the student's going to click with them, because I can see based off of my personality and my approach, what conversation kind of works and what atmosphere they bring to the table through the conversation. So through that, it was just so simple to whittle it down to the first 5 people that I took on, and then trained as well. And then since then we've brought on a couple more, but it's definitely and then actually the couple more that have been brought on went through application processes. 2 of my ex-students, which I just used to teach, and they are phenomenal, bright, amazing people. So I just couldn't wait to kind of get them in on board, because I knew what they could do and I knew how good they would be at it. Another one is a friend of my cousin, because she's actually German. So we've got a native German who's a teacher in Germany, who's teaching German to my British students. So yeah, I kind of source out to network as well as actual applications.
Fantastic. International tutoring business you've got there then. So you've got international tutors and international students as well?
Yes, yeah. So got students from, I mean, over the years as well. There's been Zimbabwe, Egypt, quite a few countries in the Middle East, all over Europe. So you've got Italy and France and Netherlands, Switzerland. I can't even think, all of the UK as well. Just all over the place. All over the place. And yes, those students, just to specify, are doing the British curriculum internationally in their international schools. But it's also interesting because they get to kind of share their life as much as I do here. So you get that, again, contrast of learning a different culture and helping someone so far away, which is quite cool. And we always, adjust to their time differences. Everything's doable when they go on holiday as well, which is good with, again, being able to do things online. It kind of never stops, and my mum always laughs and she says, how do you meet so many people that just never stop? Because all of my students, or the majority of my students, through the summer holidays, they keep going through every holidays, through Christmas, through Easter, through half terms, they're still coming on to do sessions. And when I was younger, my parents couldn't get me to be revising and things like that over half term. But I think, again, it's that aspect of they're logging on to want to kind of see a friend in a way. So it just makes it so encouraging, I think, for parents as well, to see their children actually want to continue things and not even care to have a full break. So that's fascinating to see, and obviously a huge compliment as well to what we do.
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, we could go down a whole rabbit hole of how you can encourage my daughter to do her studying, because it's the Easter holidays as we're speaking, and she's through there probably still in her bed not doing her studying. So yeah. Anyway, let's talk about your business. So that's kind of all the good stuff. What have been the challenges? Because it's not easy running your own business and scaling your business. So what have been the challenges you've faced?
Yes, definitely for me personally, the marketing aspect. I'm definitely not one to fall into the whole, advertise through social media, which I should be in one sense. I should, everyone that you speak to nowadays, it's very much use the platforms, social media, social media, social media. And for me, I think with what I'm trying to create as well, it's not so much of trying to utilize social media through the way that is advertised, of just kind of, planting so much content all the time to stay relevant and be seen. Things that I want to put out, I really want to make sure that they are thought through and kind of hit close to home and really represent what we're trying to do. And also, with me working so many hours myself, I don't actually have that much time to then content create to try to put things out. So I think what has been the biggest challenge, and still is, the agency side would definitely not yet where I envision us to be. But then again, it's very recent that it's been kind of split off into the two companies where I can put a bit more focus into kind of getting us out there. But yeah, visibility, being seen, and just reaching those parents, because kind of what we touched upon before. You know, when I first started, I thought, oh, I'll reach out to schools, those parents, but schools just they ignore, they don't respond. And we've had, again, just with personal experience of working with students, the amount of issues that we've had over the years of, you know, me trying to reach out to their teachers to collaborate and be able to discuss the student, and for me to get some insight on what they are actually doing or not doing in class outside of just our class. And again, you just get ignored non-stop. So schools are very difficult to get on board when you're in the private education system. And so visibility and getting to that demographic that we're looking for, which is basically parents. I mean, any parent, you know, wants the best for their child, but me as well, not having children and not being in that community yet, it's obviously difficult to know, where do you mums go? Like, where are you? So
yeah, we talk to each other. Where I've heard of tutors, it's been with somebody's older son or daughter has used someone, and we pass the details on. So is that what you're finding, that a lot of your work comes through referrals? Yeah.
Absolutely, it's so word of mouth. So my personal students, I still work with an agency where they give me students and obviously take their commission, and I work through them. But with the agency students, it's definitely all referrals. Every single one of them is referrals. And a lot of my private students now, because I've been, you know, doing this for about 8 years, so I'd say half and half with my personal students are referrals, and half are through this agency that you know, pass on the contacts, and we use their platform as well. So yeah, it's a range, but like you said, it is so word of mouth. You know, there's been a couple of kind of parent friendship groups that I've been the tutor of all of their children. So that's cool, because the kids know each other. We can always, you know, they'll say, oh, I'm seeing this person today, and then I'll say, oh, I've got a lesson with them tomorrow. So the next day I'll ask them, oh, I heard you saw this one yesterday. And it's just that kind of feeling of like one big kind of happy extended family. So it is nice, and I understand that. But yeah, it's sometimes you get into, you know, you're lucky enough to fall into these close-knit circle groups that do have children around the same age and that are looking to try it, even if they weren't willing to do it before or even hadn't thought of it. But sometimes you do find yourself with families that just, you know, don't have that much actually contact with other parents, or the other parents don't have children that they feel this would be useful for. They don't want to try it. So yeah, it just depends who you kind of come across.
So marketing's been a challenge. What else has been a challenge over the years?
I think personally, me being a workaholic, like trying to balance a bit of actual life versus work life. Again, like I said before, I'm definitely an opportunist. I take opportunities as they come, and I think that comes from a immigrant background, because I moved from Poland when I was 5 or 6, and you know, I was brought up with look at you versus people back home, kind of the opportunities that you have, take them. So now, even during my 75-hour week, over the last, you know, I don't know, 48 hours, I've had about 3 more requests for students wanting to work with me personally, and I'm like, yeah, let's go. So especially I think now, with it coming up to exams, I do take it seriously and understand, you know, what time of year we're in. And I had so many people this weekend asking what I'm doing for Easter break, and I was like, it's Easter? I'm working. No, it's not Easter, it's exams. So, you know, you take on, and you just want to be such a support system to them. But definitely for me, I think it's that thing of I know that I not overtake on, because I still enjoy every single hour of it. I couldn't get enough. But I think for the future, I just recognize that this isn't sustainable for my personal self to be doing as many work hours as I'm doing. So that's why this is a very conscious thing that I want to build with the agency, because in the future I want to be able to, more partake in the WhatsApp conversation, sending the links, doing the applications for people, and kind of living in that bubble rather than necessarily delivering the lessons myself. And I'm very, very, very aware that the older I get, the less relatable I will be to the students. And so I don't want to end up being, there's a lot of older tutors that my students have had previously that they said they never just got on with the way they do with me, which is completely understandable, but that's going to be me in a couple of years. So I want to make sure that I'm using these years to build the agency, so then my expertise can become useful for the future, but I won't actually be doing as many sessions, if any, but I'd say as many, because I'm always going to want to, because again, I'm obsessed with my job and addicted to it. Yeah, so I think it's that whole thing of navigating, me just loving this so much that I want to do as much as I literally have time for, hours in a day for, but then understanding, okay, this can't go on forever. So that's one thing that is constantly on my mind.
It's a very common problem. I think for people, a lot of people are workaholics that get into their own business.
Yeah.
And then being able to let go is a big challenge. So they come to me as a business coach and they say, time's my challenge, but then they're not, it takes a change of mindset to be able to let go and to delegate and to change that, change the way that you run the business. So yeah. But realizing it's the first step. So well done.
We're here. Yeah.
So in terms of, the purpose of the podcast is to let women know that entrepreneurship's an option and help them to step up and scale up, because the numbers are not good. Only 1 in 3 entrepreneurs in the UK are female, and men are 5 times more likely to scale their business up to over $1 million in turnover. What do you think that we can do as women in business to make a change to those sort of statistics?
I will stick by this, and I tell every single one of my students this: for women, if you're wanting to start a business, make sure it's something and I know this is a very cliche answer, do something you love. And I say this again to students from, as even as young as 10, I've had these conversations with them, because even 10-year-olds nowadays are saying, I don't know what I'm going to do when I'm older. I don't know if I'll be able to kind of, survive. What job am I going to have? And I just think, when I was 20 or even like 22, I say to them, I don't know what I'm going to do for the rest of my life. You don't need to know what you're going to do for the rest of your life. So I think it's that thing of ingraining into yourself, of genuinely finding something that you really love, because the more that you love something, first of all, it's going to come so much easier to you. Running a business and starting a business and being and dedicating yourself to it and putting the effort in, putting the work in, having these conversations, for example, networking, you need to first of all be passionate about what you're talking about, because people can smell when you're not. And then you also need to be knowledgeable in what you're going to be saying. Now, if you're not passionate about whatever you're trying to set up, you're never going to soak up that knowledge as easily as you would when you're passionate about something, when you genuinely are interested, when you genuinely love something. And I always say as well to my students and friends as well, and people that I have these conversations with, that don't chase money, chase something that you really love, and the money will come to you. Because I think so many people get so fixated when thinking about their future business, starting, their own businesses, is I want to get rich. And especially nowadays, it's I want to get rich now, fast. I want instant results, instant gratification, instant satisfaction straight away. It doesn't work like that. There's those few odd occasions that go viral and people think, okay, that's how it's done. If you think about it, if you're working for someone in a corporate job, you're giving away 30 years of your life, 40 years of your life, imagine what you could build in those same 40 years. You're still going to be working. You're still going to be, you don't necessarily, not everyone's going to retire at age 30 or 40 even, or even 50. But if you're putting in those same hours as you would to fulfill someone else's dream, fulfill your own, but do actually stick to what you really, really love. And that's going to make the whole process easier. You're going to believe in it more. You're going to push for it more. And you're going to stay determined, committed. And when it succeeds, it just feels so right. And you know that you're meant to be in what you're meant to be in. So find what you love and just run with it. Just go for it.
I love it. Yeah, find what you love and run with it. I think that's the brilliant answer. Brilliant answer. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Ronnie Krupa of Walron Ltd, thank you very much for your time on Scale Her Up today.
Honestly, thank you so much. I had a great time.
Thanks for listening to Scale Her Up, the Female Entrepreneurs Show. Don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss any future episodes, and join our Facebook community at Scale Her Up. Please connect with me, Brenda Hector, on social media and drop me a message to let me know how you're enjoying the podcasts, or even better, pop up a review. I'll finish by reminding you that only 1 in 3 UK entrepreneurs are female, and men are 5 times more likely to scale their business to over 1 million in turnover than women are. If we started and scaled our businesses to the same extent as men, it would add £250 billion to the UK economy and provide millions of jobs. Ladies, you can do it and make a massive difference.